ST3, and I'm here to talk to you about CSA Prep. Yes, that dreaded exam that happens in your third year, and I'm hoping that I can just pass on a bit of my experience and give you some tips and strategies to help you pass. So I am an ST3 trainee. I sat CSA just before I was going on maternity leave last year, and I was very driven because I was about to have a baby and I did not want to revise for the CSA with a baby in tow. So I sat the exam 1 week into starting ST3. Not something that I would recommend to anyone, but actually I did really well. I came second in my cohort and got a really good pass mark. And at the time I thought, this is just a fluke. And actually I have since then worked with a lot of my peers. I have helped people that have failed the exam and have been successful the second time round. I've worked with lots of friends, and I realised actually I had some strategies that I didn't even realise I had, and that I was using when I was revising for the exam. So I'm hoping that if I pass these strategies and these tips on, then actually they can help you pass CSA well and get a really good pass mark. I am not good at doing these videos. When I suggested, well, actually when I told people about my pass mark, they were like, you should do this. And I thought, oh God, I'm the person who, whenever you have a video consultation or someone needs to watch you do something, I'm the one who doesn't volunteer. But we'll see how it goes, and I will just avoid watching my face on the screen when it comes out. So what I really want to do is I want to talk to you about my 3 game changes and what changed the way I revise and how it helped to improve the way I approach CSA. Before I do that, I want to tell you why I'm doing this. The first thing is there is so much conflicting information out there. You know, there is a very well-known course educator who I remember watching videos of going, if you miss a red flag, you will fail this exam. And absolutely, I was having panic attacks thinking, oh my God, if I miss a single red flag. And on the other hand, there were other people going, well, you don't have time. This is not a red flag exam and you need to show a focus history. And it's really hard to have a balanced perspective on what you need to do to pass. So I'm hoping this is what this gives. The second is that actually a lot of the information out there is quite old. There are comments about doing the CSA in Croydon, which it doesn't happen here anymore, hasn't happened here for many years. So actually I'm hoping this is a bit fresh and new, and you get some information that you probably wouldn't get otherwise. And the last reason I'm doing this is actually because so much of medicine is hearsay and who's going to help each other out and who would recommend a certain course. And I think that really needs to change. We really need to get into this idea that who you're doing your CSA with or who you're studying for your VTS with are not competition. They are colleagues. They are the people that will share your highs and your lows, and there'll be people that support you throughout your career. And I absolutely detest this whole idea of Chinese whispers and, you know, go to this person, they'll give you some information and that information might or might not be accurate. And so I'm hoping at least this puts things on a level playing field. Right, so my 3 game changes. I initially thought I'm gonna put this at the end of one of these videos, but actually I think if I put it right at the beginning, it helps to really focus on what you're trying to achieve by revising for your CSA. So I've got 3 game changes. I clearly like things in 3. 3 game changes. The first is knowledge. So when it comes to CSA, we get really bogged down with the amount of knowledge we need to know and whether this is following the guideline in the correct way. And I think whenever you're going to sit an exam, you need to know why you're sitting that exam and what it's testing. Now, as you know, you have the AKT and the CSA. The AKT is the knowledge component of GP training. The CSA does test knowledge, but it's not about knowledge. It's testing much softer communication skills, you know, how you negotiate, how you elicit a patient's concerns, how you manage a plan, how you explain really difficult information, how you break bad news, all of those really soft skills that will help you throughout your career whenever you're consulting. So you need to be aware that knowledge is important, but it is not the be all and end all to this exam. And actually, I think there are stations where if you don't know what things are, or if you don't have the knowledge behind it, you can still pass or even still do fairly well in an exam. And I think that's really important because it helps put things in perspective. The second thing that's really a game changer for me, I mean, this is a massive game changer, is not about the diagnosis. And as medics, we really think, oh yes, I've got to clinch that diagnosis. I need to know exactly what this case is. And actually, you will probably know this when you sit in your consultation rooms. You think, oh, this could be something, or it could be nothing. I have no idea what this is. And I think that's important, because that is what general practice is about. It's all these weird things that you might see, and actually it's not always a barn door case of, you know, MI or AF or LVH or any of these things. And if it was, a lot of these patients would go straight to A&E and be treated. So I think every case has a crux, but that crux is not necessarily clinching the diagnosis. And I think it changes the way you revise dramatically. So you go from someone going, I've done all the topics I need to do in cardiology, to someone who goes, actually, I've done clinical stations, I've done negotiation stations, I've done information giving stations, I've done, you know, this type of station or that type of station. If you appreciate that what you need to revise is a type of station rather than the diagnosis, it will change the way you see CSA, and it will change the way you revise. And I think you will generally do a lot better, because it doesn't matter what diagnosis is thrown at you, you've done that type of station, and therefore you can answer whatever it is and meet the criteria, marking criteria for that exam, for that case. Now, the third one is this idea of hidden agendas. We as medics are really cruel to each other, and when I revised with friends, it's very much, you know, even if you ask someone their ice, they wouldn't give you their ice because you hadn't asked it in quite the right way. And I think in terms of stress and anxiety more than anything else, knowing that these hidden agendas are not hidden for you to find, and they're not buried in, you know, some random universe somewhere, they are very much achievable things, that information that you can get from the actor, and they are not allowed to hide information from you. So if you ask someone, even if you ask it in an absolutely terrible way, if you ask, the actor will give you the information. And that for me really helped to alleviate a lot of the stress and anxiety coming up to the exam. So what I hope is that you use these 3 strategies to help change the way you revise, or to start you off on your revision journey. When things get a bit out of control, or it all gets a bit stressful, which it inevitably does leading up to an exam, come back and watch this video again, because actually you just need a bit of perspective a few times and you're back to being you again. So next week I will cover my revision schedule and what courses and books and how I revised. If you have any comments, please put them below or subscribe to the video, and I wish you the best of luck revising.